Hello, everyone. Welcome to game one or round one of the game 2 of the NEBVEMBER series. We've got SANDJOVER playing against Team Hjonk today in the caster's booth. I am NekoboyBlue, and I am joined by Scape GT.
Hello.
Right. So, starting as usual, this tournament is going to have round one take place on Gold Rush. We see the two teams dropping in here now. Hjonk in the blue trunks on the left side, ANS, and then that's going to be SANDJOVER on the right here in the orange trunks. Scape, what do you want to go through, ANS or OSP?
I'll do ANS. I'll take ANS. Team 1, ANS as usual here. We have Team Hjonk. That is Stevosaurus, Nether, Pigsy, and Javel.
Team 2, the OSP, we've got Quiz, Heaven Base, Snipes, and Hellcringe. Heaven Base, I believe, is Herman, and Hellcringe is Hunter, if memory serves.
That is correct, yes.
So, last time we were on Gold Rush, we saw a fun little bit where the ANS went out and they managed to secure a cap feed and then hold it for the rest of the game. They suffered very heavily in the fights department, but did hit that 1K mark first. Any predictions on what we're going to see today, looking at some of these deployments?
Not sure. I'm looking low. Whoa, we already started. We're already in. I looked low and I saw what looked like a frig ball low for ANS. That could be a saw ball.
Interesting. We saw Frigate do some very good work last time around on this map. Just going underside.
We did the hero frigate for ANS team. But anyway, I will start with ANS this one. Just go through the teams. Let's see what we have. Starting with Javel, we have a carrier here. Lots of different types of craft here. We have 6 bombers, 2 CWACs, and a whole lot of Tontos of various configurations. 20mm S1, coil gun, S1 ablative foam, coil gun, fuel tank, standard countermeasures. So just various different types of mission profiles there from this carrier. Up next in the rest of this fleet, we have, some gun rains around the map here.
Police frigate
we have
style.
1, 2 of them, and then we have some light gun corvettes here. Chaff double flak for dealing with rocket boxes. Not really too good in a gunfight, but they got those frigates to support. Nether up top with the battleship here. No comms ball on the BB. Is it on one of the escorts? It is. That is a dangerous situation to be in if this escort goes down and you lose your comms jamming. BB is radar, frontline radar on the BB, so pretty cheap BB by the looks of it.
With an intel center in it, and they put a small drive in the big drive slot. Yep, love to see.
It does have 1 big drive, so there's that, but still.
Interesting battleship build either way.
Escorting it. Yep, we got a comms jam device escorting it, and it looks like 2 gun cappers, 2 lock vets. Whoa, these are lock vets with guns on them.
All right.
Huh.
Interesting build
Pigsy
there.
here. Yep, I was right. This is a frig ball going low. Looks like it's probably going to try and deny A from below. Typically, UCCL's doing this. We also got some S2s mixed in here, too. Do I see any illuminators? We do have Auroras in here, too. Jamming Auroras. Interesting fleet here. No illuminators. This makes me think that they're probably not SAW. And then rounding things off for ANS, we have Stevosaurus bringing a big milk. Mostly
hang on.
that Vox on that expert
Only
says
5
here.
size 3 hybrids on this. The rest of it is torpedoes.
These are all. Pocket Sand also makes me think that those are likely ACMs, not offensive.
That is.
We shall see what this thing does. Escorting this Axford, we have the comms jam device. This team really loves putting their comms jamming on escorting ships, huh?
Potential tech there, depending on some of the missile tunings and such.
A couple gun cappers around. The name of the Axford is a name that used to be available because you used to be able to run code in the text thing.
It's one of those inputs.
It's yeah. Anyway, you want to take a look at what OSP's brought?
So I was just looking at OSP side, noticed some fighters airborne. It looks like Snipes is coming in with a carrier. Snipes, a very good carrier player. We saw that a lot during the kind of like after testing phase had dropped. They spreaded their stuff and came out with that. Looks like there is going to be 2 carriers actually, as Hunter comes in with 1 as well. Both these carriers coming out with a good complement of bombers and a lot of fighters that we had seen them putting up here. Let's take a look at just the internals. Yep, just mass Barracudas looking like they're taking to the board. I think that was Snipes actually. Yeah, Snipes might just be pure fighter maxing. Interesting.
Makes sense. These are R2 rocket strikes, which have been proven extremely powerful for how cheap they are. That is a lot of fighters for ANS to chew through. I'm not sure if they have the munitions to do that.
Yeah, there was some SDM2s in the frig ball, and I believe that there's anti-craft munitions here or there, but for taking a double levy like this, that's a lot of plane for ANS to contest in the skies. Already seeing them trying to tow off their initial engagements here, kind of in that A-point hole where a beam destroyer normally is found. Rest of the
Interesting
comp will go
situation
pretty
over.
quick, but oh yeah, go ahead.
The A situation is interesting here. Cheetah and Splinter from ANS jump onto Rocket and Juggler. Rocket and Juggler are max sortie speeds loadouts here. They have no 20 mil. These are all strike, and they have been caught out by these fighters. We will see how that goes. These are Act Wake. We'll see if the countermeasures are able to defeat those. Coil guns now going out into Juggler. Juggler doing their best to dodge. There goes 1, there goes 2, there goes 3, there goes 4. And there's the squadron done. Rocket is just high burning directly out of there, trying to outrun the coil guns.
They figured out what they're facing, and they do not want any piece of it. More SDM2s going out as the fighters take to the skies. Let's go through the comps real quick here to end it off. Let's see, this will be Herman coming in with a monitor ball. Fun little tech on some of these. Got some container stack launchers on here. Some EWAR on there as well. Looks like they got those C90s in the nose. That'll do very well against the Frig Ball if they can catch them. Frig Ball having a speed advantage over them is going to mean that this monitor ball, if they want to get into that fight, they're going to have to burn hard towards that 8-point area and then try and catch them off that way. Rounding out the team will be Quiz coming in with, looks like a multi-mission tug. Slight variant here, has a talisman launcher instead of the jammer up top. A little bit of tech coming in there. Looks like they got some anti-craft munitions. Expecting a lot of planes in this matchup. Seeing another variant of it. This one, the double MLS2 bell mag on this thing, so Arsenal tug style. Third one's going to be early warning tug up top, spotting for their team. Then they got a collection of shuttles. Looks like one P-20 shuttle, a rocket shuttle towards the deep point. I think it is fine for the moment. It's joined by another rocket shuttle over there. One of them did go down on the A point, but that's to be expected. So that's 3 Ruddle counts so far. 4th Ruddle on the D point, and then I covered that one. It would be a 5th Ruddle. So yeah, lots of Ruddles here from Quiz, bringing a very kind of arsenal heavy fleet. Not a lot of the gun cappers we normally see. That being said, both teams square off now. I presume ANS will look at this and be like, okay, there's got to be more than one carrier. This is a lot of plane to be fighting against.
ANS doing a decently good job of keeping all the fighters at bay, although that is a lot of fighters for them to chew through. We will see if they are able to do so. A is denied by the frigates. They denied it with standard S2 missiles. They were CMD SAW. They go into the capper there and destroy it. So this double carrier tactic from OSP here, these are all the R2 strike. R2 strike, people have kind of discovered very recently that it is a extremely powerful and very economical way to deal with ANS's strengths here. ANS in the current meta does like using those really cheap beamstones to hold territory, and those R2 strikes tear them apart for a very, very effective cost thing here. You can see our SDMs going out into Talon Squadron up above. That was a lot of SDM 200s in there. Do manage to finish off most of the squadron here, although based off the name of these fighters, they are called Shoot Me. I'm assuming that Hunter is kind of just looking for them to eat the SDM 200s.
Potentially. There's bombers with a... I can't even bother trying to pronounce that one. The fighters are called Shoot Me, which is a little bit on the nose, but the bombers are there as well. It's a checkbox, I'm assuming, just to carry some of those R3s. I did a quick check of the loadout. They do have R3s in Hunter's carrier, but Snipes is just pure R2 maxing. Bit of skirmish going on in the middle of the board right now.
Yeah, fire engagement. Gorgon is ASF and engaging Cyclone, Splinter, and Hustler. OSP with a massive fighter advantage in this engagement here. And it's already losing some
economical fighters usage here. Just a lot of 20 mil in size ones. I guess with the plane count, they can only carry so much, but they're just kind of going with the minimalist approach. Just pure R2 or going into some size ones.
And Gorgon come in for ANS to support, but Claw Squadron also comes in to support. Those are jamming ships. We have a massive fighter engagement developing here as it looks like most people's... Yeah, this is a massive engagement here. Arbiter is Strike. Griffon and Gorgon set onto that instead of the ASF squadrons.
Worth noting, some of those Barracudas do not have nose gun ammo, probably trying to preserve what they can. Yeah. Still, a whole bunch of planes engaging here as both sides just go toe-to-toe.
Fuel on Tontos calls out Vastal. Yes, as some of the Tontos running out of fuel, forcing a
Winter Flight
withdrawal there.
Pullback, yep. I think that
more
OSP is getting the better of this.
Into the strike.
Keep in mind that even plane trade is
numbers advantage they have.
Yeah. Watching now, it's just they're getting run down. The coil gun ammo has run out. There's more Barracuda in the sky, and that chase of the 20 mil is just adding up here as Gorgon Flight's getting shredded piece by piece. They're still trying, but I don't think that they will have it. 3 or so planes left in this death ball.
Yeah, no, OSP is going to take this one as they're going to wipe. That was a lot of ANS's fighter complement, and they don't have much. That is one of their primary defenses against all these fighters, and they just lost a significant margin, or a significant number of them. That is really unfortunate for ANS.
Taking a quick look at Javel, they've got 4 Tantos left on the board against all of this. One of them very wounded, returning to base, trying to fix itself up, but they're going to have to take on, like, what would you ballpark this at? Like 100 fighters still, give or take? There is a lot of plane on the board.
The battleship already out of SDM-200s. It has expended all of them. The frigates, they did have some SDM-200s and did launch some of them. No, they still have a decent amount on them. We'll see if that is enough to hold off the fighters.
We're stuck at 99% sim speed, which is something that happens now and then when fighter balls kick off like this. Just the game not quite waking up that it's actually up to speed, but...
Arbiter Squadron rounds the top and absolutely eviscerates that port capper, immediately ducking back into cover, taking absolutely no losses from even the close-range point defense of that battleship, and you can see how effective these R2 strikes are, depriving ANS of their very valuable light assets. A very, very effective strike there.
This is part of why we've started seeing some of the light capper assets just doing without defenses like that, as you can unload so many rockets quickly with either rocket containers, or in this case, the carriers bring a bunch of Barracuda R2 strikes.
Right. There's no point in paying for something that you don't need, and that won't help you. Anyway, you can see Fulcrum here. These are R2 Piranha rockets. They are hunting around C, probably looking for a beamstone. They instead find the beam axe.
Beam Axford has quite a bit of picket escort here. 4 corvettes arranged, 3 corvettes and a frigate arranged around it. R2 strike goes out on one of them.
Misses for the most part. R2's on the frigate. Really massive hits. That was the comms jammer one.
That's
the comms
going to be...
Evisaurus' comms jammer is now offline, and this is why I do not like putting comms jammers on escorts.
The ability to deprive you of a very important asset like that, just for a little bit of light strike, is pretty big. There is some tech to bring a secondary comms jammer on an escort. If you're a battleship or a single Axford like this, you can see some people tech that, messes with some of the ranging a little bit, doubling up your jamming. But in this case, we just see how vulnerable it is.
Fulcrum's out of fuel and RT being through some flak, although it will get out of most of it. But yeah, you can see
pretty
how
good angle they've got there to escape.
They dart directly into a Axford's point defense zone and just get free strikes off with minimal losses.
Yeah. R2 strike is
how many fighter
squadrons.
You can see how many fighter squadrons OSP just has up right now. They're very limited on their front line. It's only the monitor ball, although it doesn't really look like ANS is in much of a position to take advantage of that. Their fleets are pretty spread out.
Front line, Plasma firing off on the battleship right now. Battleship just eagerly dodging that. It gets maybe a couple splashes on the front, but not nearly enough to make this battleship worried. Even with the angling, it's really not going to take like any damage from anything they shoot at this thing. You need to get a better angle to hit that.
Missiles out on A as Quiz denies the ACAP attempt with this Bloodhound, not even a Bloodhound, this Arsenal Tug, killing that capper that dove for A, although even if that didn't get the kill, there are still a ton of squadrons up for OSP that could have likely struck that.
Yeah. I think talking about this comp a little bit from OSP side, we mentioned earlier how strong these light strikers, these R2 floating Barracudas, are against things like the corvettes, frigates, or destroyers. I think the strategy OSP came in was to just remove the ANS's lighter cap assets and then render them just the large capitals. They can kind of keep those honest, or maybe mass up enough rockets they can get through the armor plating. It does take a lot of rockets to do that, but it is possible.
Quiz wastes another strike from that Arsenal Tug on the A-Capper there. They still have plenty of missiles, but that was a little bit of a rough trade there, considering how valuable that ship is. Vulture Squadron is R2 rockets poking over this over the rock here, finds the battleship's point defense. Battleship spraying defender and flak into a rock. Neither should probably go to point defense hold for a while there so they don't burn too much ammo. That is something that you can do. You can exploit the firing arcs of point defense to run them out of bullets. Meanwhile, the Axford is actually pivoting over towards the middle, experiencing nothing on the CD flank here, as OSP is completely concentrated over E right now. The battleship, you can see, is also pulling back, probably recognizing that all of the OSP's team is coalesced in one spot right now. A point still remains pretty open. OSP is sending another ship. Quiz sends another sends one of their Ruddles to try to take the point there. It is already under RPF fire from multiple angles here. STM-200's out from the axe repair here. These are going into the massive squadron of 28 coalescing Barracudas up top. Looks like
going to start taking out a couple of them. Vulture Flight suddenly down to half as one SDM splashes like 5 planes at once.
Yeah, STM-200s in the recent patch, they had their warhead cranked up, and STM-200s are once again the primary form of ASF. They are extremely potent, and you can see that here as, even though that expert likely just ran out, but yep, out of
still able to deprive the OSP of about, I think, 14 Barracudas there, having that strike count for the moment. A lot of these are also going to be, actually, they're doing all right on field. Well, Vulture Flight, what's left of it, is falling out.
Frigball gets the kill on A. The reason that STM-200 wasn't really used all that much is because it was completely useless against ceramic-coated bombers, and people just... They relied on the punch-up because previously people only relied on bombers for strike, but you can see now with the Barracuda tactics that OSP has, STM-200s have become an extremely useful asset for ANS.
Other thing with the STM-2 warhead change was it went from bombers, I believe they were able to soak like 3 or 4 hits of an SDM2. Now they're down to just being one shot by them as the same craft. So it's a very potent weapon system. We saw people using the size 3 hybrid anti-craft munition for the longest time, since that was what worked effectively against everything. Now we're kind of back to SDM2 spam, and I don't know if ANS has brought enough, expecting probably a more modest count than this.
In all fairness, they brought a crap ton of them, but against this OSP team comp, I don't think there is a way to bring enough.
Taking a look through,
Hunter readying up a bomber strike. These are R3s. They are flank speeding likely towards the Axford right now. They're likely going to try and strike it to prevent it from ingressing on Dagger. Do any of these bombers have torpedo loads?
I didn't see any torpedoes in the comp here. I think that's due to the price of just bringing this many fighter craft.
Snipes is completely R2s, by the way. Snipes legitimately has no other munitions other than R2s for the craft.
They've got some light bombs on there, which they can kind of finish off with. Bombs, for some reason, under the munition slot. Not sure why that is, actually.
Hunter, they have a sizable load of spearfish, enough to hurt something.
Axford here might be found caught out. I'm kind of curious about the Frigball right now, is it's just kind of held its position, hasn't really gone for any push, any aggression, it's just deployed itself overwatching A point here. Battleship is rotating, and if I was on OSP side right now, I would be wondering about that B point push, because they are
very
kind of looking
right
open here.
Keep in mind, though, that it's really only that monitor ball and a couple of scattered assets from Quiz that can really get onto that point. They have no liners, no Acellos, nothing to really hard push into that thing other than monitors. You can see the monitor fleet's actually pulling back, probably to try to get repositioning to deal with the monitor here. Not the monitor, the Axford. The Axford has alerted the Horde, as you can see by the number of
Taking a look in cinematic cam, just the sheer number of engine
Photon,
trails.
Falcon, and Ajax are all approaching that Axford with murderous intent, which does leave the BB open for now. You can see Javel does have a group of bombers sorted, Caltrop Squadron. They are holding it back, likely just waiting for an opening. If all of these craft go for that Axford, they might get an opening if they are able to time it right.
Quiz with the early warning is going to try and keep track of that Axford. They don't currently see it as it is under the rocks. That will interfere with their approach path aggression. Still, they're building up for that big strike. In the back line towards the B point, we're going to see Hunter now with the Hellcringe tag that's going to go after Javel's frigate. And,
and this is likely why that Frigball is holding back right now. They know how vulnerable they are to this tactic. R2s will tear them apart, especially without dedicated like point defense and flak and stuff. They do have Auroras, which will help, but only a few of them is not going to be enough to really stop a strike like that. Tito Squadron does the strike and is immediately moving back. Quiz, you can see on the flank here with one of their Ruddles, is already in position to start putting pressure on Boxer. We will see if ANS is able to pivot resources over to Boxer fast enough. Meanwhile, the Axford doing a
they're setting up to
good
jump
job
this
of
thing,
hiding
but...
here. These are all R2s, but this many R2s you can get through Axford armor, by the way.
It looks like they're just waiting on Ajax flight with the bombers there. They've got some bombers trying to catch up. Oop, here comes the strike. They're going to try and take out the escorts.
Squadron commits onto one of the escorts here. Meanwhile, Heartbreak commits
Yep.
at the same time. Excellent play from OSP's craft here. Rockets do go into the Axford, although the armor absorbs that.
Yep. Axford
Heartbreak
armor
and
is
Photon
sufficient.
are within the point defense arcs of the Axford here and still take minimal losses. These aren't even buffed, I don't think. No.
Looks like a Bolt Flight was actually air support here as they've got to their command HE frag. Size 1s weren't going for the R2 strike after all, just trying to make them think that they were there.
Likely sitting in position, expecting air cover for the Axford, I believe.
Speaking of air cover, currently there is, well, there's the 4 Tontos hanging out near the carrier Well, they're trying to cover the C point anyways. There's just not much left for them to do. Bolt Flight kind of towing the line here, trying to bait out some flak ammo from the main capital here, the Rush in the middle of the formation. Kind of surprised they're not bothering to fire the beam on this thing.
You can see Falcon and now Ajax are both committing onto this Axford here. The Axford, yeah, it's not even pivoting its beam. That would have been a really, really useful tool, especially against Ajax Squadron right here.
Plasma gets into range.
Axford choosing to hold that.
Bunch of the 20 mil gonna go out to the bombers there. Maybe it'll rotate in time. Falcon Flight gets on it.
Yep. Begins to fire at Falcon, although I think it's probably too late. Look, Falcon
changes target onto the escort here. Yep. Just gonna one-tap it.
Just gonna eviscerate it. Yep. Oh, it actually survives, barely
No,
though.
no, it does not.
The 100 mil from the monitors finish it up. R2's finally managing to pin. That was only the second salvo, and it already pinned on the Axford as that thing takes a massive hit.
Ajax
Vulture
Flight
Squadron
kind of
tries to help, but flanks over the hill into an ambush as ANS loses the rest of their Tontos in a very unfortunate situation.
R3 strike out into the broadside. That is going to be crippling.
Mags down. The Axford is mags down, so yeah, no point defense firing. Bomb follow-up coming in is likely going to kill this thing. Very excellent play from OSP there, massing their fighters and all committing onto the same target. Yep, there goes the Axford.
Yep, that's that. Isolated asset like this, 2 versus 1 on the carrier front. OSP's win condition is to get in sufficient strikes before they lose all of their craft or expend all of their munitions. They've taken out half of the ANS's forces here effectively. The carrier being pretty much deplaned means it has a couple claymores, but it can't possibly get through with the number of fighters on the board right now. And in turn, Stevosaurus here has just been completely removed from the game by this strike.
Yep. ANS's best bet was probably a really aggressive push early on as soon as they identified that the enemy was going mass carriers. Carriers are really well known for their ability to have really devastating strikes, but they are very much slower in terms of their ability to sortie than traditional missile fleets are.
Speaking of strike, 8-point attempting, but Quiz on the ball with some missiles right now, going to go after that capper and the guns from the monitor ball.
And they miss. The missiles overshoot. The monitors have engaged. They are pivoting their 100 mil onto A to try and deny it. Probably likely be
inbound with R2s on that.
And Slasher, yep. Multiple R2 squadrons have already committed onto A. It is unlikely that that capper will live.
Some RPF going to find its way in here, but once again, as long as these fighters have 1 HP and can make it back to the carrier. Ooh, good dodge
the Piranha
there.
Rocket strike misses, although it slows down broadside to Splinter.
Slasher tries again with the second run. That'll catch it. So good dodge on the first one. Yep, Splinter is just going to be the end of that Sprinter. Good attempt on the A-cap. They got about 60% of the way, but, well, that's kind of what you get here. ANS just doesn't have an effective way to engage this. OSP able to cycle their decks quick enough that they can get up a critical mass to kill off their capitals. And, well, ANS just doesn't really know what to do at this stage. They've lost quite a few of their assets. Their battleship just doesn't really have anything to fight. The monitors it could engage against, but they have all the time in the world to find cover, and the battleship is not a fast beast. It is going to have to try and make its push towards the carriers and see if it can run them off the map. But with the sheer number of fighters here, I don't know if ANS has anything left in the tank at this point.
The monitors, I should also mention, are still fully healthy. The battleship will have to push through those before it's able to deal with the carriers. The monitors are doing a good job of pivoting to the areas where ANS is looking to push. OSP does manage to take Boxer temporarily here, although Javel is moving a camper back onto the point. Although you can see here, Arbiter Squadron, which still has 18 Piranha rockets, is already flank speeding towards B to deny it. I highly doubt that that frigate's going to survive this strike. And another advantage with the R2 Barracudas is also they can fire half of their salvos to bait out the dodge from the ship they're firing at, forcing it into a full stop to dodge the first half and then follow up immediately with a second strike.
We saw that on the 8-point there, the flick and fire, 1 salvo, 2 salvo. So if you dodge the first one, you're going too slow to dodge the second one. Plus the ability to come in from different angles.
Pivoting low towards Eclipse right now.
Spragball is probably the best shot ANS has in this game. They've already expended a bunch of their ammunition. seeing some of these are out of their 120
Yeah,
RPF
those were
rounds and
mostly, I
size
believe,
2.
really out of munitions too. Ooh, poor firing doctrine from Pigsy here, as they were firing at dead cappers for a very significant margin there on the A point, using up their valuable ammo that they could be using for later.
To their credit, they still have some SDM2s in this upon inspection. A point goes
There's the
nuclear.
rocket strike on the frigate. The frigate just barely survives on Boxer. Arbiter out of munitions. ANS is going to retake Boxer.
Small locker
at
and a
heavy
whiplash
cost.
drive. Very lucky angling on that, or unlucky depending on your perspective. They will get themselves the B recap, but OSP has got themselves a point lead right now, even with the 2-cap situation. Quiz has a T-20 shuttle just waiting on standby to go onto that A point. The second that that frig ball is out of arc, they will take that point.
Quiz is also moving up a Ruddle on C-flank here, and that carrier with nothing to defend itself is, if it's not careful, it's going to get ruddled here. ANS is desperately trying to reposition around the map to try to engage what they can of OSP, although the sheer fighter cover that everything has on the Protectorate side is going to make it very difficult for ANS to gain any ground here. The frig ball is now finishing its move onto E. We will see how that affects the game. The monitors now engaging the battleship through the middle of the map here. The battleship starting to withdraw again.
They do spot that A capper, or at least tried to hit it with a missile. Command S2 is going to find the golden rock in the middle of the map instead. Baits out an AMM or 2 from that capper.
Those were direct fire. It's likely that Pigsy didn't see the arc here and didn't realize that they didn't have arc. Yeah, those are all going to
There we go.
miss,
Yep, capper, like I said, the second that frig ball is out of arc, Quiz instantly on the ball, going to move on to this point and cap A for the OSP side.
Yep.
ANS, I don't think they have anything to see this off. The battleship is taking plasma fire right now. They're trying to exchange shots with this monitor ball, but neither side really going to do much against each other here. A little bit of plasma, some of these C90 shots might find purchase, but it's just going to be a bit of a nothing trade for the moment. It's really on the frig ball to see if they can get into the E point, see off all of these fighters, and then just try and punish this double backline play, which so far has been paying off massively for the OSP.
You can see how many fighters that both of the carriers of OSP still have. Despite the heavy losses to the SDM-200s, they are in no shortage of them. That is a lot of fighters that OSP has brought here.
More fighters going towards the B side here. Wasp Flight from Hellcringe going to make its way there and just probably collect on Javel's frigate.
Right.
Not
ANS
really
does
much body-wise left for the ANS.
Point. ANS does retake the point, but they're going to lose the ship in the process. Snipes, looks like they're committed on the the BB's escort here. And once again, you can see the downside of putting your comms jammer on the escort here, is that is easy prey for Strife Squadron. Strife Squadron, it takes effectively no losses and is able to just get free hits on both the BB and its escort.
Plasma, interestingly enough, weakening some of the armor plates on that battleship enough that it can actually get hit in the nose there by 1 or 2 of those rockets. We saw that flash. Also showing, once again, why people just aren't bothering bringing point defense on light ships. When that R2 strike comes in, you do not have enough time to shoot down those rockets. It is too much too fast. I see Wasp Flight collecting over here on B point in a second once they get onto target. Probably just waiting for their carrier orders. C point,
they
Quiz
do not have
cap
the
as well.
ship detected. They don't actually have the frigate on Boxer detected right now.
Should
the directional cone of the radar.
But...
As soon as he's swinging around, they will likely be able to see it. They should have Viz at this range, right? What is that, 2 kilometers?
Pretty close to it, so they should be able to... There we go, on the turn. Now they get it.
Yep.
That'll be a cleanup there. They'll just need another craft to go over. Frig Ball finally managed to get its rearing gear, but there's not that much they can do at this stage anymore. They are moving towards the carriers, which are cycling.
They have found the carriers. Yeah, no, the carriers still have plenty of fighters up right now to deal with this Frig Ball.
Other thing here is that cover actually working against the ANS in this case. Any cover provides the R2 strikers an opportunity to get closer.
There's the SDM-2 strike onto Hitman there. The frigate's keeping those missiles in reserve. Looks like they are firing onto Hitman. Hitman is probably going to try and deny E here. But Quiz with the Ruddle is already on the point here. Aurora is attempting to help. Will it be enough? It will. The Aurora's actually cleaned up the rockets quite well there, as the monitor ball is actually within bombshell range.
Yep. R2 strike going out here. Auroras do work at first, but unfortunately, no. Going to take out the reactor drive center stack. It's gone. Does live long enough to still contest the cap here. Small DC locker and an aux keeping this thing in the game. Hitman play with R2 should select on that.
from the Frigs there as that S2 that went in to kill the Ruddle misses, unfortunately. The Monitors now pouncing on the Frig ball. The Battleship pretty well pinned down. It does pop back out to try and engage the Monitors here. It does have their broadside. This BB will start doing some pretty significant damage here into Herman's Monitor ball, although it is going to be a very, very tough thing for that BB to chew through.
Size 2 is trying to go out on them. Let's see if any of these get through.
Frigates.
That's a lot of Pavis.
And any comms jammers on the Axfords, or not Axfords, Monitors, does not look like it.
Couple of impacts. Noticeably snipes an antenna on one of the Monitors. That will interfere with its orders. These size 2s not doing the most, but not the least either. They start to add up, taking out some of those T-30s and container stack launchers, also reading out the main guns on these Monitors. Backline, we saw the C point get capped by Quiz, but their Ruddle was seen off before it could strike the carrier. Battery flight from Javel able to actually collect something there with his torpedoes this game, but there's just really not been opportunities for them to strike.
Right.
Battleship trying to do its best here, and, well, ANS they're trying with what they got, but these R2s are tearing apart the Frig ball. As like I said, they get close to cover, they come around, they can just get their strikes off before this retaliation time. 4 cap for the OSP. ANS just hemorrhaging ships at this rate. They already were behind, but I don't think that they have a way back into this game now.
ANS is way out of position to recontest the points. I do not see a way for them to recover from this one, as I think that OSP is going to take this one either on Annihilation or on caps here. You can see here the rest of the Flag Ball is just getting annihilated by Spectre and Splinter there. The Battleship doing some work against the Monitors right now, although it is too little too late.
Battleship needs time to have its guns do their work. This is a ship that will win this fight against the Monitor ball over time, but as it currently stands, the OSP is just in position to collect their win already. Their carriers got their strike done. OSP was able to freely collect for the first half of the game, and then when ANS finally did try and move out and push, there was just nothing that they were able to get within range of, taking too long to reach the target compared to the fast strike of those Barracudas.
Is being retaken by the Levy, although I doubt it really matters at this point.
3-2 cap, almost 800 on the board for OSP. That is a very, very bad place to find yourself in. B point going to be capped here as the T-20 shuttle will move on for Quiz, as that's just going to be a trade of points. ANS is, well, alive.
Very bled.
I think goes to show as well just the value of removing everything but these heavy capital assets. They managed to bleed out the Axford's escorts and then eventually finally strike it. And as for the Battleship, they just decided this was not part of our win condition. You can have one big 3,000 point hull, or close enough to it anyways, for the escorts. But if we don't have to kill that to get ourselves our 1,000 points to win, we won't.
Right. So we had Javel brought a lot of ASF in the fighters. They did lose a lot of them in a really embarrassing way early on, but still, we had a lot of SDM 200s from all 3 other ANS fleets, and you can see that OSP still has plenty of craft.
OSP bringing the Fighter Max build, they're just committing to that, deciding that, okay, we're going to run the ANS out of munitions, and they did. They came in with their R2 strike and delivered.
They've legitimately barely been bled at all. They still have plenty.
Taking a look at the craft count. Yeah, plenty of fighters still alive for both of these carrier players. Hunter's got a lot more stuff dispersed around the map. Those bombers are still alive, just kind of loitering right now. They don't have to go after anything, so they're just keeping them in reserve in case something tries to dive towards the carriers.
With a little bit of misprio here, prioritizing the already dead Monitor as the still very healthy ones rush it down.
You're going to see the Monitor ball just commit to the fight. They've got a 4 cap, and they know this game is basically over. Battleship suffering a crit here to the small Dragonfly drive in the back on it. They'll have enough time to fix this. The front of the Battleship has been knocked out. 2 small lockers and a mount gyro, pretty squishy there. Not really much for ANS Monitors.
Engaging these Monitors at pretty close range is not where you want to be engaging Monitors. Photon Squadron here with R2 rockets, gonna strike the BB as well. I have no doubt that this squadron will get through this many rockets, and a squadron is gonna have no problem.
Plasma angle on the left side as well as that rocket strike.
Yeah, they find the angle.
And looking at the damage control board, that's going to be a lot of damage. Front of this thing is looking pretty bruised.
HH is now going to have no trouble pinning from the side if the Monitors, you can see the Monitors are already starting to pivot around to the plasmid side. Yeah, that BB is not going to be up for much longer. Bombers are being sortied from Hunter. This is a Spearfish bomb strike out to finish up the BB. You can see ANS is probably already
at this point, they know it's already done. Javel elects to throw in the towel.
Nather and Pigsy are the last 2 here.
Game
as
one
there is
will go
nothing.
to the OSP Fighter Cringers here. I believe that we'll be
Right.
moving on to game two. Loser does get to pick the next match, so we can look forward to that one. Yeah. Good attempt from Hjonk here, coming out with a fairly balanced build. Honestly, I don't hate this comp. It seems pretty decent. They've got a Frig Ball. They've got a couple of cappers scattered around. They have a carrier for backline support. They've got some Axford and Battleship for beef. That said, OSP just came in with the R2 strike, deciding to rain on everything they can, and they played very well with it.
Right. Even investing so much into SDMs and ASF, ANS just can't kill enough of those fighters. Barely killed any of them at all, realistically, here.
Yeah.
You
Coil
can see
guns ran out of
here,
ammo before the OSP ran out of bodies.
Hunter brought 71 Barracudas, lost 36, so they still had over half left, pretty much.
30k damage dealt
And
from
then
them.
Snipes brought 91 and only lost 43.
Yeah.
Like, even after expending all of the ASF munitions from all of the ships, OSP still had so many fighters left, and you can see that really mattered here. The monitors doing really well at holding the front line.
Monitor Ball was
against,
essentially a checkbox for their force here, just something to
right.
see a potential sprinter ball off of their double carrier backline. Bombshell would make it so they couldn't digress onto that, just zoning and then allowing their strike to get through.
The monitors were always in a really good position to sort of just deny the pushes here.
Yeah,
The
I don't
Axford
really
didn't
think
really
there's
get
much
any
more to
work
say
done
about that
there.
one.
Yeah.